Hello, everyone. Happy to be here. This is a big question, isn't it? What is the best way to listen to employees? So I decided I'm not going to make you wait until the end of the presentation to hear the answer. I'm going to give you the answer right now. It's profound. You may want to write this down. The answer is, it depends. It feels like a pretty unsatisfactory answer, doesn't it? We want to know. We need clarity. My guess is that many of the organizations you work with conduct employee surveys. They do employee listening. They want to know what's the best way to do it. The reality is there is no simple answer. However, there are a lot of people who are happy to give you their opinion on what is the best way. If you follow HR blogs, HR magazines, you know there is no end to the helpful advice that you can receive from any of these things. And you've probably heard many of these. The employee census survey is dead. It's a dinosaur. Nobody does them anymore. The best way to survey employees is short surveys run frequently. All right, so interesting concepts, interesting ideas. Do they make sense? So let's explore some of these ideas. The first thing I want to talk about is this notion that the annual census survey is dead. That they're too big, they're too slow, they're too massive, they are too point in time to provide insights that are valuable to the organization. I will tell you that 85% of the companies that we work with at Perceptyx still do an annual census survey. And you may say to yourself, okay, yeah, like what companies? Well, Google, Apple, Microsoft, Jaguar Land Rover, Heineken. These are companies that continue to find value in doing a point-in-time survey. Now think about it for a second. What other process in your organization touches every employee? What process in your organization provides insights to every leader, every business, every subunit, every demographic? Employee surveys, census surveys, can be extraordinarily valuable analytics tools if they are well designed. They create a wide and deep data set that is absolutely ideal for analytics. All surveys should be short. Why burden people with a lot of questions? We should ask a small handful of questions on a regular basis. How many of you have companies that say, employees are our most valuable resource? I mean, how many times have we heard that? If that's true, why don't we want to know what they think? Why wouldn't we ask them more questions? And wouldn't it be kind of annoying if you're told you're the most valuable resource, yet I only have 4 questions I want you to answer? Employees have a lot to tell us. They have a lot of insight. They are face-to-face with your customers. They make your products. They design your products. They know the best way to get work done. So let's take advantage of that. Let's collect that information from them. Now, to be clear, I'm not advocating 100 questions. I have been in the survey business a long time. I remember those days. I remember the 80s. I even remember the 70s. And I can tell you that we don't want to ask 100 questions, but technology has enabled most employees to complete a 35 to 40 question survey in less than 10 minutes. If employees really are your most valuable insight, your most valuable resource, then why wouldn't we take 10 minutes of their time to have them complete a series of questions on a number of topics that are important to the success of your organization? When it comes to surveys, one size fits all. There's one best way to do it, whether it's quarterly, whether it's weekly, whether it's biannually. Here's the reality. There is no one size fits all. Every company is unique. You each have your own industry, technology, strategy, employee workforce. You may be local, you may be global. And if organizations are so unique, why do we have this notion that there's one right way to do this work? It's very important for organizations to think about what is important to us, what do we need to know, and then create a strategy, a design for surveys that really meets those needs. Here's the thing. Surveys in organizations have really become employee engagement surveys, almost to the point where that's all we want to talk about. We need to measure these employee engagement questions. We need to do it frequently. But here's the thing. What's happened in many organizations is that employee engagement has become a thing, a number, a score, a target that we have to try to achieve and move ever higher. We've kind of lost this notion of what engagement really represents to the organization. So what we think is you need to stop thinking about engagement as a noun and focus on engage, the verb. What is it in your work environment? That wasn't me. I didn't touch it. What is it about your work environment that engages employees? What is it that makes your company engaging? And when we understand that, when we understand the elements of the engaging workforce, we find that we can identify what are the elements of the engaging workforce that influence the success, the performance of your business. What are those components that help you do a better job delivering customer satisfaction, operate more efficiently, increase throughput, reduce costs? Because if we can understand what are the elements of the work environment that drive performance, that enhances the success of their business. But more importantly, we can understand something that is very unique to the employee. While it is absolutely essential for our organizations to be successful, we have to remember that we need to focus on, can our employees anticipate their own level of success within our companies? Well, what does that mean? Well, different employees anticipate or want different types of success in your company. Some may choose career growth. I want to continue to move up in the organization. Some may say, I want to be involved in decision making. Others may say, I want to be able to design products, to be more entrepreneurial. For some, it may be as simple as I need to earn a living wage and support my family. But what we can use surveys to do is to understand how can we make our employees, or how can we help them anticipate their own degree of success within our organization. And you have to be able to ask the right questions and do the right analytics to do that. As much as we talk about continuous listening as if we know what it is, we need to recognize that there is no one single definition of what continuous listening is. Continuous listening is nothing more than a combination of different types of surveys for different purposes conducted at different points in time during the course of a year, 2 years, whatever the business cycle is. That could be a combination of census surveys plus onboarding or exit. It could be pulse surveys. It could be special topic surveys. The point is, every organization needs to think very clearly about what is the information that we need. That has to be driven by the strategy of the organization. Where are we going? What do we need to know about people? What's the best way to collect that information? And how do we analyze it to get the insights we need to help our leaders make good data-based decisions about people? So here's an example of what a continuous listening strategy might look like in a particular company. Now, this is just an example. It's not a prescription. I just want to be clear on that. But in this particular case, the organization does an annual census survey, all employees, in April. They do a series of sample pulse surveys that do a couple of things. There are a couple that are follow-ups on the employee census survey, so a deep dive into key drivers of engagement, a follow-up on some other issues that arose, perhaps an opportunity to check in on hotspots, those parts of the organization that had results that are concerning or worrying. They may also do some special topic pulse survey on total rewards, collaboration, senior leaders. They may supplement that with a series of polls, short questions that are event-based. So we've recently done a global town hall meeting with our CEO. Let's do a quick survey to find out the reaction to that. We announced an organization restructuring. Let's do a quick pulse, point in time, to get a sense of how employees reacted to that change. We might also add in continuous surveys like onboarding and exit that are running all the time and collecting insights. But the biggest challenge for any organization is, how do you stitch all of these databases together so that it tells a story about the organization, what it's like to work here, and what are those moments that matter to the employee, and how do we make sense of what is in the engaging work environment. The bottom line is this: your survey, whether it's a census survey or series of pulses, can be the engine of a human resources analytics strategy. A well-designed employee survey can cover multiple topics, whether it is what is the downstream impact of participation in leadership development programs? Have we created an inclusive work environment? And when we cut the data, do we find that different groups of employees experience that work environment differently? We can use survey data to help us understand what are some of the challenges in retaining our high potential talent. Where are we falling down in creating that engaging work environment for our most valuable employees? And of course, the employee life cycle. The point is, just about any issue that you have in an organization, you can use survey data when well designed and driven by strategy to collect those insights. Okay, so where do you start? I've said it multiple times and I'll say it again. You begin with the strategy of the organization. As a company, as an organization, where are you headed? What are you trying to accomplish? What's on your horizon? What are the challenges facing you? And once you understand that, you can step back to figure out what do we need to know about people that will enable us to accomplish that objective. And so when you start with the strategy, you create data and reports and analyses that will immediately grab the attention of senior leadership, because you're providing them the tools and the resources they need to be effective in their own job, to lead the organization, to help make it successful. So once you've figured out the purpose, what is it we need to know about people, we can figure out what are the data elements that we need. What combination of survey data plus HRIS data plus business performance metrics do we need to aggregate to enable those analytics and give us the answers that we need? Who's going to use the data? Who's our audience? How facile are they with using survey data? How complicated or how simple do we need to make this to reach our audience? Only then, when you've answered those questions, can you determine what is the best methodology to use. Too many organizations are jumping immediately to the methodology before thinking about what is it we're trying to accomplish with the survey. So again, here's the answer I gave you at the beginning of this presentation. What's the best way to listen to employees? It really all depends. You've got to do the homework, start with the strategy, and figure out where to go from there. We don't have time for questions, but I will be at the Perceptyx booth. I'd love to chat with you at lunch or at one of the breaks, so please do stop by and let me know what you think about what I talked about. Thank you.
Great.